Guys, Twister here, back on Solanke 85. Today we're going to talk about the North London derby, Arsenal versus Tottenham. Firstly, I just want to say apologies. I know the video is late. It is now Wednesday. Of course, the derby was on Sunday. I've had a lot going on. I'm away on holiday at the moment. I'm just here in Marrakesh. So I'm trying to play catch up. I will get better. I do apologise. However, North London derby. So it ends 2-2. Let's talk about the way we set up. Three defensive midfielders, for me, is showing Tottenham way too much respect. We're at home. We've got a very good record, very good record against Tottenham at the Emirates. Go after them from second one. Three defensive midfielders was probably the only thing that did frustrate for me. Everything else I was okay with. He played the front three. We've all been calling as a fan base for the front three to be played. They were played. Aubameyang, Pepe, Lacazette. Now, again, I like to make the point, I watched the game at home, I wasn't at the Emirates, so my view is from what I saw on the TV as opposed to being in the stadium. I just like to put that out there so people understand. There was some criticism on the fact that Lacazette was brought off. Now, Lacazette signalled to come off. I assume he's still carrying a bit of a knock, but I've seen a few people getting onto Emery for bringing off Lacazette, etc. Interestingly, no one is really talking as much as I would like about Socrates' mistakes. So yes, there are some people talking about it, but no one's talking about it to the extent that I wish they would. I am not saying dig Socrates out, be all toxic. I'm not asking for that. However, our centre-backs are supposed to win headers. Our centre-backs are supposed to win headers. That's it. That is schoolboy stuff. Sunday league, Saturday league. When you first start off as a kid, whatever. This is the basic thing that you're taught as a centre-back. Win your headers. Now, for Socrates to come all that way for what ended up being Tottenham's first goal, he has to win that header. And we all know, well, if you've looked at the stats and historically some of the behaviours of Socrates since we signed him over the last 12 months or whatever the case has been, it's very rare that he wins his headers. He doesn't win his headers enough for me for a centre-back. He's come all that way. Granit Xhaka has said to him, listen, I've got it. He's come anyway. He's attracted himself to the ball. And Harry Kane, in between Xhaka and Socrates, has won the header. Now David Luiz is in serious trouble. It was Lamela, I think, that got the shot off. Correct me if I'm wrong, I do apologise. I think it was Lamela that got the shot off. Now, a couple of things with this shot. Firstly, and again, I was at home watching it on the TV. The shot for me wasn't hard enough for Leno to even need to parry it. For me, Leno's got to hold that. He's got to hold that. But if he can't, for whatever reason, he cannot just palm it back into the path of Eriksen, who's of course tapped it in for Tottenham's first goal. So yes, you know, when you look at the first goal and you break it down, Socrates is at fault. Leno is at fault. Leno should have done better with it. However, Leno should have also not have been in that situation in the first place had Socrates have done his job properly. So there's a bit of both there. Now, I'm fairly confident in Leno. By Leno's standards, that was just poor on his part. I don't think that this is something we're going to continuously see from Leno throughout the season. I think he's just had a bit of a moment there. Socrates was paying no attention to Eriksen. So even when he was trying to recover from not winning the header, he was paying no attention to Eriksen. He's paying attention to the ball. So by the time the shots come off and Leno's parried it, he's in no position to get anywhere near Eriksen to stop that. So that's something that needs looking at. And then we go 2-0 down. Now, for the second goal, look, Granit Xhaka divides opinion, throughout our fan base. We know this. However, for someone of his level that has played in the amount of international games that he's played in, the amount of Premier League appearances he has had for Arsenal, because let's not forget, he played consistently under Wenger. Emery's here, and he's now playing consistently under Emery. By someone of Xhaka's experience, this is just wild. I don't really have a defence for it. I don't believe Son's going to score in this position. Now, I don't know where this slide tackles come from Xhaka. I don't know if it's out of frustration, whether he genuinely thought he would win the ball, which If that was what he was thinking, then for me, that raises more concern than him just being frustrated. That slide tackle is wild. How he did not get booked for that, I genuinely do not know. However, he's done it against Spurs. We all know Harry Kane knows how to take a penalty. You know, I'm not Harry Kane's biggest fan, but he knows how to take a penalty. He's not going to miss a penalty, especially in a North London derby at the Emirates. He puts it away, it's 2-0. Now, what I will say is this. The team at this point, 2-0 down, now begin to fight. I don't believe we were fighting as much as we should be doing when we were 1-0 down. At 2-0 down, the team started to dig in. But up to this point, and I will get this in there, although that is ludicrous from Granit Xhaka, he wasn't the only one. He was the only one to do something as reckless as that, but he wasn't the only person that was playing poorly at this time. Lucas Torreira wasn't our best player at this point. Matter of fact, he was quite bad. And there's a combination of things for that. I think fitness comes into it. Could just be an off day for Torreira, but we've got to call a spade a spade. He did not have a very good first half at all. Guendouzi, for me, he was man of the match. But 3 defensive midfielders sat in front of that back 4. Both of those 2 goals should never happen. That's it. So that then makes me think what is happening on the training ground. Now, before anyone just assumes, I am by no means in any way, shape or form Emery out. I back Emery 100%. But like Granit Xhaka when he does something reckless, or like Socrates when he makes a mistake, we have to look at what's going on, what things that are happening behind closed doors, training sessions, the way we set up as a team, and what we're doing. I appreciate he doesn't want to lose at home to Spurs. However, we have to go after them, and there is no point playing Aubameyang, Lacazette, Pepe, and not having someone to create for them in the middle of the pitch. It's counterproductive. And we saw that because in the second half, when Ceballos was introduced, completely different game. Completely different game. Guendouzi was allowed a lot more freedom. And by the way, he had an excellent game. I'm really happy for him. He's been called up by the senior squad. So now that we're in the international break, he's away with the senior French team. Fantastic for him. Brilliant. I think he deserves it. So happy. But back to the game. Once Guendouzi was freed up a little bit more, and Ceballos came on, creativity began immediately. And at this point, right, we are terrorising Tottenham. We are terrorising them. The game was completely spun on its head. Because in the first half, Tottenham could have been out of sight. Completely out of sight. Had they have been a bit more productive in their final third and a bit more clinical, we could have been 4 or 5 goals down. Thankfully, Laka gets the goal before half-time, and that wasn't the case. Second half comes, we made these changes, but we didn't make them immediately. Granit Xhaka played the whole game. Where I then call Emery into question is, what example is that setting? Granit Xhaka was much better in the second half. Absolutely, have no problem admitting that. He was much better in the second half. However, that, for me, was still reckless. At a time when we have Mesut Ozil on the bench, we have Joe Willock on the bench, and to be clear, on Joe Willock, I think that it's harsh for him. It was harsh for him not playing in the derby. To a degree, I think Emery's probably looking at it and thinking, well, you know, younger player, it's easier to drop Joe. And I could be way out with this. I'm just giving my opinion on it. I could be way out. I think it's harsh that Joe didn't play. I think it's harsh that Joe didn't get any minutes in the derby, especially when Xhaka's given a goal away. Now, for all the Xhaka fans out there who may see this video and get onto me, please understand, yes, when Xhaka's on his day, he can come good, but you've got to look at the stats. The stats do not lie. Xhaka has given away more possession that has led to a goal in critical areas than any other Arsenal player since he's been here. That's not creating a scapegoat or a bandwagon or whatever the case may be. That's fact. That's what he has done by himself. At some point, we need to accept that, and one of our managers, I mean, Wenger's gone now, but Emery's here, has got to make a call, and he's got to be quite bold with it and say, listen, that's not good enough for what we're trying to do. We're trying to achieve top 4. Xhaka was part of costing us top four last season. He's still playing when he's fit, and he's at it already. He's at it already with 4 games in, at a time when Guendouzi's playing very well. Lucas Torreira needs fitness, I will admit that. Joe Willock has had a fantastic start to the season. There is options. Dani Ceballos is here. We can play Joe Guendouzi and play Ceballos in a more advanced role. We can do that and Granit sit out. And if we're lacking something, then Emery can make a decision. What happens is our so-called captain, because I haven't actually seen anything formally announced to say that Granit is our captain no matter what, is playing every single game at a time when he's not on the best of form, and he's causing us, which is just huge mistakes from Granit Xhaka, and they're leading to goals. That's fact. So then what happens is we need our superstars to bail us out, and I get that's what we pay them for. But Lacazette, before half time, he gets the goal. What an assist from Guendouzi. Aubameyang gets the second goal. You know, God forbid one of these guys gets injured, we could be in serious trouble. Now, I'm going to do a separate video on this, but is Emery going to be bold enough to make the calls that need to be made when things are going wrong? Are we going to start to see Xhaka getting hoisted away and took off, or not even started, better yet, if these mistakes continue? Are we going to see a ruthlessness when Rob Holding's back? Is Rob Holding going to come back and when he's at full fitness still be competing with Socrates? Because I'd quite like to see Rob Holding and David Luiz. I think that although Socrates and David Luiz have both got mistake in them, David Luiz for the most part I believe is a lot more defensively aware. Socrates frustrates. You know, he can have a brilliant game where he's a bulldozer and nothing gets past him, and then more often than not what we have with him is some reckless challenges that lead to cards. He doesn't win his headers, and we concede from set pieces. That is something that we need to look at. Continuously conceding goals from set pieces isn't good enough. Now, I get we are not without our strongest back four, but moving forward, because we're in an international break now and hopefully Emery is behind the scenes working on this stuff, we need to start to see a couple of things from Emery. We want an identity. What is our style of play? What are we trying to do? What are we trying to achieve? What is our strongest 11? I don't believe that he knows what that is yet. And let's just be honest and call a spade a spade. There is tremendous pressure on Emery this season to get top four. They're not looking for him to prioritise the league or the Europa League or the league against the FA Cup or whatever. Top four is the objective. That's it. So is he going to make the calls that need to be made to get us there? We wait to see. The front three are starting to be played now. I think Aubameyang's frustrated out on the left, but I also think that he'll play for the shirt and for the badge. So if that's where we've asked him to be, I believe that he'll go out there and he'll do a job. Aubameyang is who he is. He's still going to score goals. Our system could be that Lacazette plays a false nine, because we all know he's fantastic at holding up the ball and either getting a shot off or playing one of his teammates in. He causes all kinds of havoc around the opposition's penalty box. Scared to death of him. And I think those two we can use and can interchange, and there's a system there. We play Pepe out on the right. Pepe, as soon as he gets that first goal, he's going to be an absolute nightmare for this league. Absolute nightmare. I'm seeing some things where he's been compared against James at United, who, by the way, I'm not digging him out. James looks very good. That looks like a very good buy from them. A few good goals from him as well, which is why he's being compared, and they're comparing him out of money that they cost and whatever. It's a non-thing. It's a non-conversation. That's United. We're Arsenal. It's a different thing. Once Pepe gets that first goal, I genuinely believe, because he showed it against big teams. Yes, he didn't score, but he caused Liverpool some problems. Against Spurs, same thing. He got an assist, but he didn't score. But he was causing them all kinds of issues. Once we can set our stable, we've got Tierney in, because Kolasinac isn't a left back. He does a job, but he's not a left back. Same as Maitland-Niles. Maitland-Niles is not a right back. I really wish the stick that he gets would stop. I appreciate that we need to look at performances and see where we are weaker, and we can talk about that. But some of the way that I see Maitland-Niles get dug out, considering he's a centre midfielder, not a right back, who's assisting us at the moment, I'm not okay with that. If he doesn't do the job, who's going to do it? We just need to be mindful of these things. Hopefully, we're going to see some identity come from Emery sooner rather than later. As for now, I'm going to go and get a drink and enjoy the sun. But I will be back very soon. There'll be quite a few videos this week as it's international break. There's a lot of talking points from Emery to Edu and Sinelli to the amount of players that we offloaded in the summer transfer window. How much money did we get off the wage bill? I saw some stats on that this morning. Very interesting read. So we're going to get into all of that. But for now, I'm out. Peace.